Hi, my name is Lonny Hout. I'm the executive chef of the Edgewood Tahoe. I'm hanging out in the ZLINE Kitchen with my friends. We're going to do a sous vide lamb loin with sweet pea risotto and some woodland mushrooms and a little bit of pecorino parmigiano cheese. So as we get this dish started, we're going to start with some arborio rice. What I like to do with the arborio rice is toast it off a little bit prior to getting it started with my broth and aromatics and herbs. So just going to let it brown for a few minutes. It'll bring out some nutty notes to it. Really changes the flavors of the final product. Keep an eye on that so it doesn't burn though, because that's another one. While I'm letting that go, I'm going to move over to prep my cherry tomatoes. We're just going to do a quick split in half on those. Those back there for later. I'll go back to my rice. Really loves this range because the adjustment on the gas is really more easily to control the actual temperature on your pans. So in the meantime, we'll chop up some herbs. This is flat leaf parsley. This is way better than the curly leaf parsley. It has way more flavor to it. My back shoulder, I have a little veggie stock going. So anytime you're doing some preparations and things of that nature, all these little bits and pieces are great to add to your stocks. This particular one is all vegetables. Some oregano. I'm going to mix all these together so I can incorporate them well. Some Italian oregano. Some fresh thyme. I'm going to throw those in the stock pot also. Nothing goes to waste in our kitchen. Okay, cool. Should be good. Give that another cut. You can see it's starting to smoke a little bit and brown the rice slightly. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Keep an eye on that. Once it starts getting to that brown point, you have to keep a little bit closer eye on it. Oops. There we go. So we're back with the risotto, which is pretty much nice and toasted. I did add a minced shallot in there while we were away. I'm going to do my first addition of veggie broth. We're going to add several additions once we get to this point. You don't want to add too much in there because then it'll make the rice pasty. So I add a little bit at a time and just keeping an eye on it. You want to get this nice and creamy. So you add small additions at a time. So So while we're waiting on that, we've got our sous vide lamb loins here. These were sous vide in a cryovac pack with some butter, a bit of wine, some garlic, some rosemary. They sous vide for about 45 minutes to an hour. These are 6-ounce lamb loins. We're going to throw those on the grill here. That's another beauty part of this ZLINE range is it has a versatile griddle and flat top kind of incorporated in it. The other beauty of that is it also has a adjustable hood fan for multi-speeds depending on how smoky I make it in here. And I know how I cook, so we're going to need that. In this back skillet, we're going to add some whole butter. And I'm going to add a touch of extra virgin olive oil. This will help with the flash point and it won't burn the butter so quickly. This is for the mushrooms and tomato saute. And add another addition of broth. I said we'll probably do about three or four additions just to make this nice and creamy. Oh, beautiful. Look at that. Fantastic. You don't have to go back and forth to your backyard. On the side here, I've got a little bit of lamb jus or lamb stock, which I made with the bones, since you can see that I've taken the bones off of that already. So I don't want to have any waste, so we added some aromatic vegetables and prepared a little bit of lamb stock with that. That'll be a finishing sauce. Starting to get nice and creamy here. A little ways to go still. And my pan's really hot. If you can smell that, I know this is TV, but it has a really nutty smell because of the butter that's starting to brown. So we're going to add our mushrooms there. These are organic Japanese mushrooms, and these are wood-eared mushrooms, which are just coming in season. Now when searing mushrooms, as you can see, I have a single layer in the pan. I want to have a single layer in the pan so they get a really nice caramelization on them, and it also adds a really more intense flavor profile to the mushrooms. And these are wood-ear mushrooms. But again, you want to do single layer in the pan to let that pan get really nice and hot. Now our risotto's absorbed the majority of that first and second addition of liquid, so I'm going to add one more. Check my lamb. Oh, beautiful. Oh, that's looking really nice. On there. That's good. So a little bit of white wine. So my next addition is going to be white wine. Just going to put a tiny splash in there. I like cooking with wine. Sometimes it actually does end up in the food. I'm going to take off this lamb here in a moment. Just getting some more grill marks on there. It's getting nice and creamy in here. Beautiful. I'm going to turn that up just a little bit. We're almost there. I'm going to throw the tomatoes in with the mushrooms just to get a quick blister on those. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to both. This is Himalayan pink salt. I'm going to pull those lamb loins off, let those rest. You want to let your meat rest for at least 3 to 5 minutes prior to cutting into it so that all the blood and juices don't run out of it. What happens is it allows the proteins to reabsorb that moisture because of the sear on the meat. Makes much better texture and way more moist. We've got our mushrooms and tomatoes right about there. The risotto is looking magnificent. Let's give it a see the texture. It's right there. And here's where I'm going to add the pea puree last minute. This is just regular frozen peas that have been defrosted, and I just pureed them with water really, really fine. I did strain them because there is a shell around the pea that'll give it a little textural grittiness. So I have strained that out. Not an absolute necessity, it's just for a smoother texture. So I am going to cut the heat off on the risotto because if I cook this too long also, it will change the color and turn it into that army green, and we want to keep it nice and bright. Oh, look at that. Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to add a little bit of butter to that because everything tastes better with butter. A tiny bit of cheese in it, but we will finish it with cheese also. Perfect. And we're going to go to the plate. Look how gorgeous that color is. Nice and relaxed. That's what risotto is supposed to look like. It's not supposed to be really bound up. It's supposed to be nice and creamy, just like so. We're gonna add these herbs. These herbs are gonna go into the mushrooms and tomatoes. I'm gonna slice our lamb loin. Perfect. I want to fan that out so we can see that beautiful medium rare color. Beautiful. That's perfect. If you've never used sous vide, do not be intimidated. The sous vide technique is super easy, and all of the machines that come along with it have great recipes involved with them. So this is much easier than what people may think. Here goes the mushrooms, and I don't want to cover up all of that beautiful lamb. So got that there. These are pea tendrils. A little bit more of the cheese. These are baby snow peas. Those are really sweet. They're very young. We use those just for some textural pieces and obviously beautiful colors. And then we're going to finish it up with just a drizzle of our lamb sauce. I'm going to also use that over the tendrils so they have some flavor. And there you have it. Sweet pea risotto with sous vide lamb loin, wild mushrooms, and great cherry tomatoes.